Hello, every pony. All right, so welcome to Designing Pony Cosplay. The general idea of this panel is that we're going to go over some concepts of design aesthetic when you're looking to design for your favorite pony. Now, I'm going to put a disclaimer at the beginning of this panel that there is no right or wrong way to design a pony. You can do whatever you want. However, if you're looking for just some advice on the general idea of how to design, that's what we're here to help you do. Now, I did have this gorgeous PowerPoint, but then my laptop decided to die. So I apologize. And if you need any references or anything like that, I will gladly give them to you as best as we can. But yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to start by introducing ourselves, starting with...
Hi, I'm Kit of SunsetDragon.com, and I've designed a lot of gala dresses and Pokemon gajinkas for people, so designing is fun. Don't be scared of it.
Hi, I am KBV Photography and Cosplay. I have been cosplaying since 2003, doing pony cosplay since 2011.
And I go by Lady Ava Cosplay on the interwebs. I've been cosplaying for 15 plus years. I have a background in television and film with a certification in costume design and wardrobe technicianing from the School of FIT in New York City. I've worked on film and Broadway, off-Broadway, and a whole bunch of other things. And I've actually been nominated 4 times for my design work for theater. So we are going to basically drop some knowledge. Mic drop it. I would drop the mic, but they're expensive, so we'll drop the bass or something. I don't want to drop the mic, they're expensive. But, so, first of all, who here, I know I see a lot of you in cosplay, who here has never cosplayed but wants to? Oh, I love the hands. Always love the hands. Who here is working on their favorite pony cosplay or is wearing their favorite pony cosplay, like right now? Now, how many of you designed it yourself? Yes, that counts. That counts too. Awesome. All right, so right off the bat, you designed your own costume. I don't think we need this panel. Panel's over, everybody go home. No, all right, so, oh, she's raising her hand too, yay! Now, when everybody's creative process is different. So I'm going to talk about a little bit about my process, and Kit will share a little bit of her process, and Kira will share a little bit of hers. When I'm looking to design a pony character, the first thing I go to is the character's personality. Knowing your character is so important when you're designing for yourself and for your costume, because it gives you a better idea of what those people would wear, how they would act, what would be scraped up. Like if you're cosplaying Rainbow Dash, you could have like torn up jeans because she crashed so many times, or like an aviator jacket or something because she flies, or something like that. So it's all about thinking about that personality and how you can mesh it into the character's design itself. What about you over here?
Yeah, that's pretty much great advice. So I kind of took the main 6 gala dresses as inspiration and kind of made them into like more elegant designs for people, because you can't really wear what the ponies are wearing directly. It won't cover half of you.
That would be really awkward and you'd get kicked out of the con.
Yeah, it's illegal. Don't do it. So like for Rainbow Dash, she has that magnificent cloud train, just kind of translating, but she's also kind of sporty, so she wouldn't really wear like a huge ball gown. So I kind of made like a high-low dress, so her legs are free, she could run if she wanted to, whereas with Rarity, she has like this big, poofy, like 20-layer petticoat with like a huge extravagant gown really over the top. And I really wish I had pictures to show you.
So do I. Trust me, so do I.
With like a huge train.
Yes.
Just imagine it.
I like the way that guy thinks. Give him a cookie. Or a muffin.
And also just taking inspiration from fashion history. You can kind of build that into your character. So like I said, Rainbow Dash is very sporty, so something kind of loose. Like she probably wouldn't wear like a huge corset or anything. And Rarity, you can draw inspiration from like Victorian, like huge bustle, really done up corset and stuff like that. So inspiration from things that have come before you is always really good to reference from the real world.
Pulling from the design aesthetic, the most important thing I ever learned when I was doing any type of design work was research. Know, if you're aiming to do a giant gala dress, for example, and you want to do rarity, but you want to do rarity in such a way where it's mood lighting.
We're that bad?
Dun, dun, dun. But you want to do something for rarity where it's more like avant-garde or kind of a Eastern European feel. I mean, the girl is like all about the fashion and all about like the overzealous, crazy stuff that goes on. So looking into fashion history, like you can learn so much about like clothing and everything through history. I'm a history nut. I love history. So pulling designs like corset concept and skirting ideas and even for men's suits and things like that, it's all different throughout different periods of like the timeline of fashion. So if you're going to really start thinking about designing something that can be a little over the top or crazy like even, start studying your fashion history. Because fashion history tends to repeat itself a lot, and like the 80s showed up somewhere. I don't know why they want the 80s back. I'll never know. It was a horrible time, except when awesome people were born. I'm like, yes, like yeah. Anyway, continue.
But yeah, a lot of the way I design my pony and non-pony cosplays is the same way, thinking about the character. For a specific example, I cosplay Granny Smith, and I knew when I was going through that fabric choice that came into mind. She wouldn't wear the same thing that Rarity would. Rarity is all very fancy. Granny Smith is very simple on the farm, like a cotton, rough material. But yeah, I feel yours going last because we all have like the same.
It's hive mind.
Yeah.
Something in the water.
It means it's true.
It does ring true.
Yeah.
It does. But oh, I'm so sorry, everybody. I suck. I suck. Technology at its finest. Yeah, those jerks.
They thought it was love.
Do you want to talk about, because you went to school for this, good places to find references and research?
Surprisingly, I'm going to say, don't go on the internet. Oh, that just surprised like half the people in this room. That was funny. The internet is great, but the best ideas and the best research can be done in this you might have heard of it, bear with me. This magical building, okay? Twilight tends to hang out in them a lot. It's called, what's the word? A library.
They exist outside of Equestria.
I swear they exist. And the best part is that pulling stuff out of books, like doing the research and reading and just sitting there, like I said, I'm a big history nerd. But you can learn a lot through just going to the library, sitting down away from your computer, away from looking up like other people's costumes and all this other stuff on the internet, and just going and learning the true raw concepts behind fashion and costuming. Because there's so much there that nobody actually really realizes, like the whole concept of couture versus avant-garde, or how a hoop skirt came into, play in fashion. Or there's even a whole book I found on the evolution of French millinery or hats. On hats. There's a book on hats. And it was a great book. Really fancy, lots of big hats. But this was just hats from France. Hats from Germany are different. Hats from Spain are different. Hats from Italy are different. Hats in America are different. America.
Yeah, and even if like that sounds like a little too intense for like your first time, because that's kind of a lot of research to do, even just going and getting just the pure visual of it, you don't even, the history doesn't interest you, that's totally cool. You can just get like the pure visual reference, because a lot of the problems with looking at other people's costumes for inspiration, that's great to see what's been done, but it's going to kind of flavor your interpretation, and you might end up kind of reimagining just their reimagining, which can get a little repetitive. So
yeah,
Yeah, even
freshness
if you're,
of that.
You're not exactly sure what direction you want to go in. Sometimes just looking at these kind of books about different styles of fashion, you might see something that's like, you've never seen a style like that before, and you're like, I like this. Like, you can find inspiration.
Like, for example, I designed a couple of, when it wasn't 4 princesses, it was only 3. I designed them in the almost Elizabethan style with the big collars and the elaborate, elegant, beautiful embroidered dresses and completely over-the-top Queen Victoria style with the crowns and the jeweled wings and all this other stuff. And I'm sitting here going, this is fantastic. This would be a fortune to make. Oh boy, and my bank account would not like me. So, but I just designed for the sake of just for fun too. It's not all about work. It's all about having a good time while you're designing it. And the thing too is also when you're thinking about starting to design a pony, think about how much you really love the character, because that's really going to determine how much effort and time and money you're going to be willing to put into making your costume. I've waited for 3 years to make Queen Chrysalis, and I sat there and I was like, must make perfect, twitch, twitch. But I put it off and put it off until I found and designed something that I was truly happy with, because I wanted to do my favorite villains a lot of justice. And that's the thing, is that I'll put off a costume. If I start designing a pony costume and I don't like how it looks, I'll put it off and put it off and put it off until I hit something that I actually like. It's all trial and error, quite frankly, with design. Like, some things will work, some things won't, but it really comes down to what you like in the end. So any questions so far? Oh, hey. Like, what do you mean? Like, oh, hey. Oh.
Like when you're making wings and stuff, how do you decide like to airbrush it or to make it out of craft foam or fabric?
I think the big thing also comes down to your own design aesthetic. For me, like my wings for Chrysalis, like I'm going to turn awkwardly here, are actually a clear plastic warbler that I cut. So I knew it would be translucent, and then I used a translucent spray on them to give them that kind of insect look that she has. But with Twilight, or Princess Twilight, I would use foamy, like Kit has here for her wings for Cadence. Because I know that they have more of a cartoon look to them, and I can easily make them look cartoony, which is how I prefer to design the ponies when they're in their whole aesthetic. So it really depends on the character, quite honestly.
I've made wings, actually my Princess Cadence wings are a combination of foam and fabric. They have a foam base on the inside, and then wire in to give them that little bit of like curve where it almost looks like I have like a little motion going, and then I have this really pretty pink fabric that has a slight gold sheen to it, and she has a lot of gold accessories. So basically kind of what fits your design.
It really comes down to your own creative power. That's the real thing about designing ponies, is how much like design power you're willing to put behind it. Now, the thing here too, it comes down to a lot of things like material choices. I mean, Twilight wouldn't be wearing satins or like leather or something, like depending on what she does after hours, that's cool. She would be, wearing cottons or twills or tweeds or, sweater vests. I've seen a lot of sweater vests for Twilight because that's just how she rolls. And then for someone like Celestia, you'd pick heavier materials like silks, satins, and casa material, like a nice
something flowy.
Thank you. Chiffon. Is this chiffon? Okay, yeah. Like for example, on her dress for Cadence, it's all a chiffon style, which is all like more like I guess the Grecian style, really. Like.
Yes, but spoiler, I did not make this dress. So we can also talk about getting a base piece and altering it and kind of designing around that. So I made this costume, or decided to make this quick Cadence costume about a week before BronyCon, because I found a dress on super clearance on the internet, and I was like, hey, this would work for Cadence. I can just make all of her accessories and kind of dress it up, just because in my mind Cadence is a princess and it's very flowy and elegant and princessy. So I thought that would work, and you could kind of cinch it with like the little armor accents that she kind of has, just to kind of bring the whole thing together in a quick, costless costume.
There you go.
Which is
No, but I don't know.
Now, here's another little food for thought here. I'm going to... Excuse me.
And now for a commercial break.
Sorry. We're just gonna pretend that didn't happen. Exactly. That really made me lose my train of thought.
I think we can go off of what Kit was saying, where designing, you don't necessarily have to know how to sew to be able to come up with these ideas. You can find pieces. Thrift stores are your friend, especially if you are on a budget.
Who here is wearing a cosplay and they bought 95% of it? You guys are the true champions. Because you took pieces that you had existing and turned it into a cosplay. I give you guys mad props for doing that. I've really never...
I mean, that takes time to hunt down stuff that works together. You can't just like, find it the first site or store you look into. So.
Exactly. Well, yeah, that's true.
I mean, Target is pretty
Target.
good, so...
That's actually how I designed my Spitfire costume, because I saw a pair of pants in Target that were blue with the same, that had a stripe of orange like she has in her mane, and it reminded me of her uniform from one of the episodes, and boom.
Shopping is awesome. Capitalism, woo! Wait, what? But then, who here sewed their costume themselves? Now, once again, you guys are also champions, and let me explain why. It takes a lot of time and patience to sit down and sew a costume. So, first of all, A+ to everybody. But it also takes a lot of time to hunt down the correct pieces for a costume. So A+ there. But the thing is really about designing ponies is that translating the things that these guys, these lovely little horses wear in a show and making them into a real life costume, it really depends on how you view your character, honestly. When like people who do Rainbow Dash cosplayers, or do we have any Rainbow Dash cosplayers? Hey, in the house, what up? Every time I see a Rainbow Dash cosplayer, it's usually very sporty. Like they have goggles on their head, they're wearing like running shorts or something like, see, workout out, see? Oh my God, I'm like naming everything. Wow.
Just looking.
And then you could also flip it around the other way where it's like, I want to do like an aviator jacket and have her like a leather aviator jacket with patches from like the Academy on it, trimmed in fur, cool, and my goggles, and pretend to fly and fall flat on my face. So accurate to character. I mean, it really depends on your own interpretation. I honestly, like, I'm sitting here thinking about this, and I'm like, I could sit here and I could tell you how to design a pony all I want till I'm blue in the face and yada, 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 but at the end of the day, it really comes down to your own imagination and how far you want to take the character. Like I said, imagination. In Chrysalis, that just feels so wrong. I'm sorry, it does. But let me, oh God, it's a race now. Go, 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 go. Whoever wins, I don't know, but anyway. So let's try a little experiment here, and if, see how we can do this. By show of applause, we're gonna go through the main 6, and we're gonna pick one of the main 6, and we're gonna discuss how we would design a simple cosplay for them, okay? So, do you want to design Twilight? Clap. Rarity. Fluttershy. Rainbow Dash. Oh, ouch. And lastly, Pinkie Pie. It's between AJ and Rarity. AJ? Wow, power. Or Rarity. Oh my God, it's like even. So you know what? We'll do both. It was a tie. I can't decide. So, oh God, the two ponies like furthest apart from each other. It's like the sleepover episode. Now, Penny, if you don't mind with the microphone. Now, let's start with Rarity. When you think of Rarity, just raise your hand and she'll come over to talk to you guys. When I say, let's design a Rarity costume, what's the first thing that pops into your mind? Guy with the Zelda Triforce hat all the way back there. Sorry, Penny, I'm like, this sucks. Oh,
Green shirt.
Green shirt. Hey, don't gasp. She just needs to be educated. That's all. All right, what do you say? Elegant?
Yeah.
And what else? What else? Right there,
Gems.
gems, okay. And two more. Guy right here, Penny, turn to your left, right there with his hand up. Aha!
Some kind of big ball gown kind of thing.
Ball gown type dealie. Okay, one more. And this little chick right here in the front with the lovely neon hair. Derp, 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 derp.
Very dramatic.
Dramatic.
Okay, so carrying around a sofa.
Like this light change.
Nicely done.
Dun,
Nicely done.
dun.
That's very rude.
Exactly.
We're setting the mood to design Rarity. So a ball gown, elegance, gems, and dramatic. Now, what do you think of? Thank you. Spotlight. Thank you. When you think of dramatic and Rarity and ball gown and things like that, what would let me see, what would be a good thing to start off with that? You like want to try her grand galloping gala dress, something like that, or what she would wear on an everyday kind of thing? Everyday kind of wear. What colors would she wear? Everybody. White.
Purple, and a little blue accent.
Okay. So maybe she would wear something, obviously she wouldn't be caught dead in pants, because let's face it, that's Rarity. It's a tasteful pantsuit. A power suit with shoulder pads. This is true. So let's say, I wish we had a projector to draw, because that would be like the most amazing thing ever. We really do. You want to draw for us?
Advertising artist.
Fantastic.
Yay.
Works for me. So we have elegant, we have gemstones, we have dramatic, and we have, what was the last one?
Ball gown.
Ball gown. So let's see what this gentleman comes up with, shall we? I wish we had music to play, but we don't. So.
Male or female?
Male or female version.
I'm trying to decide male one. I'm having an issue.
Male? You guys want to do a guy version of Rarity? All right, let's do it.
I threw a ball down there, so I'm thinking something.
Who says? I mean, what?
It's possible.
Yeah.
If I can give sort of my interpretation thereof,
Yeah, go for it.
I would think sort of a very well combed hair, slightly gelled, so that it stays firm yet still feels sort of flowy.
Okay.
Cut straight in the back. White blazer, stark black jeans, or stark black khakis, since guys kind of have to wear pants. Nicer shoes.
Well, they could, but you know there'd be issues there.
But beneath the white blazer would be either a white shirt with a white tie, or you could just have it be a standard white suit jacket with a white undershirt, the kind of tie. But I don't really have the colors.
And right there, just what he did, he just designed an entire costume right off the top of his head.
I have many sketches of this.
And you played up a lot of good aspects of her character
But that's the thing, is that he sat there and he thought about the character itself. He thought about her look, he thought about everything that would go into that type of design work. And it's really the key to really creating, like, I'm losing my mind. I shouldn't be losing my mind. The mind is a terrible thing to lose. Thank you.
But he also picked a theme, so it's kind of like Verity's default outfit, maybe a little fancier. But you could also take inspiration. You could do, you know, obviously they have their dresses. You could do their default outfit. You could go off the wall and do like Arabian Nights inspired ponies and do like belly dancer ponies. You could do medieval ponies. I've seen that done a lot. Warrior ponies.
Oh, the warrior ponies. Love those.
It's really fun to kind of, because especially now that My Little Pony's been around for so long, doing the stuff that people maybe haven't done before. Just kind of going off a theme and maybe getting a bunch of your friends to do a group and put them together could be a really fun thing to do.
Your Gallagher was my favorite thing ever.
Mermaid ponies. I haven't seen that done. That would be awesome.
Which ponies?
Mermaid ponies.
Mermaid ponies.
Yeah, like the sea ponies.
Okay. Oh, I'm not judging anything. I will tomorrow, but I'm not judging anything now.
That's different.
Did we want to do Applejack?
Yeah, let's try Applejack. Who wants to step up to the plate and design an Applejack for us? Girl in the yellow with the tie, pointing to herself, being awesome in the corner. Yeah. Is it cheese?
I think it's cheese.
Real cheese. Yeah. All right. So how would you design Applejack?
So like color scheme wise, lots of yellows and oranges and reds.
Okay. And what else would Applejack wear?
She said overalls.
Overalls. Okay. Because you know, working down on the farm. Yeah. Where are we going?
Something with her cutie mark on it.
There you go. Always remember the cutie mark. Oh, wait, we have a delivery. It isn't even derpy. Delivery. Imagination, ladies and gentlemen. Imagination of Christmas.
Yeah.
Can I keep this? This is fantastic. Yes! Yay! This is mine now. There's none of them like it, and this one is mine. I mean, what?
This guy has his hand up.
Oh, yes.
I was thinking utility. Like, I know, like, many people in the country, they have, their clothes are patchwork because they don't have a whole lot of stuff. So if there's a hole in pants, you just sew it up. Or you pick another piece of scrap and you sew it up. Or even like with Ma, she uses that exaggeration of using a dirty rag as the scarf.
Okay. Anyone else? You over there in the black shirt? Yes. Glasses? I feel so bad. Sorry, Penny.
Functional.
Functional.
Also headwear. I'm growing up lamp of what?
A hat.
Yeah, what kind of hat?
Yes.
Tons of denim.
Denim. Gentleman right here in the black shirt.
Durability.
Durability. Yes. She ain't no prissy pony. This ain't no prissy pony party. Dare I say it's uncouth.
So fabric choice, you guys are listing a lot of denim, a lot of rough linens, a lot of heavy cottons that can stand up to that sort of wear, maybe with some patchwork thrown in. So yeah.
Yep, derpy.
I'd say that some kind of plaid would also help with this.
Yes,
But
definitely.
sort of an orange plaid, less the standard red, less picnic, more sunset colors.
Okay.
Throw some green in there for her
Is it
eyes.
a little derpy?
You could also do like the other version of Applejack in simple ways when she tries to be like Rarity.
Ah, yes. That would be adorable, actually. I'm thinking about that now. Oh my god. Oh, awesome. Do the thing.
The challenge.
Anyone Fluttershy all the way in the back? Fluttershy? Go, Penny, go. It is. We're just getting her to work out a little bit.
Take a picture in flannel.
Flannel?
Flannel.
Okay. And down here in the front? Sorry, Penny.
Go.
Go, 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 go.
If you're kind of going for her girlier side, kind of a denim skirt. Kind of.
Yep. Now, everything that you listed is correct. There's nothing, any single thing that's wrong on that list. And the reason I say that is because with My Little Pony cosplay in general, I find this to be one of the most creative communities of cosplayers ever. Because we take animated horses and turn them into people. Now, I don't know about the rest of y'all, but that takes some skill. I mean, think about it. Like, I'm dressed as a chick that, wow, I can't, what is she besides being a changeling? Like,
Evil, pure embodiment of evil.
Swiss cheese. But moldy?
Yeah, with a bit of both.
yeah, I'll take it. But it's also the embodiment of evil. She's evil, like pure evil. Like the thing that I thought of when I designed my particular outfit in general was I thought of the character Maleficent. Because Maleficent is just the embodiment of pure evil. I don't care what that crappy live action movie said. She's the embodiment of evil. It doesn't exist, even though Angelina Jolie's like cheekbones could cut diamonds. I don't care, okay? The point is that I looked at a lot of designs of Maleficent, even the original sketches they did for Maleficent, to pull and strive for my particular version of Chrysalis. And the reason I did that is because looking back and watching the episodes that she showed up in, you know, all 2 of them, get on the pony people, arson. Thank you, my people, my people. The thing here is that I did the research to think of, okay, so how would this character look? I took a picture of the original art of Chrysalis and I looked at how she was actually drawn. And the thing that I noticed the most is that she's tall, she's lanky, her hair looks like it's constantly wet, like almost like she crawled out of a swamp almost somewhere. So I wanted to go with a very slinky, form-fitting design, but then she also has the flair for the dramatic, so I added the train. However, with this particular costume, my train is also a very big lie, because for when I had to run places and get places quickly, the train itself is removable. And I can take it off and have a completely different look to my costume, which is more of the streamlined, evilly creepy kind of look, which I'll demonstrate once I feel like getting up. It's only a matter of time. But that's the thing that I thought of when I thought of Chrysalis. I thought of this very slick kind of, oh my God, what's the freaking character's name from Ferngully, the bad guy? The Hexus, that's it, Hexus. That oily kind of disgusting look, but she still has that flair for the dramatic. Because if you think about it, she has the biggest ego on the face of the planet. She's like, everything's going perfect, ha ha ha. I can't even see this person who's escaping. Ah, dang it. Looks like Queen Chrysalis is blasting off again, kind of thing, yeah. That's just how it is. That's just how it is. Who cares? That was fantastic. I needed a good laugh. Okay. The point here that I'm really trying to stress with the design aesthetic in general, and I think I have a question in the back. Yeah. Oh, hey, what up? We like questions. Please. Bonus points for Sonic music. All right.
Hi, so I was just wondering, how do you make costumes wearable? Because as soon as you start getting more grand, adding all these features, wings, crowns, accessories, getting bigger and bigger, they start getting more cumbersome, and that tends to be a problem. Things fall off, things break during cons.
Yep.
So how do you make a good wearable costume that stays together, that feels like real clothing almost?
That's a good question.
It actually is a very good question. All right, I guess I should get up and demonstrate this because I'm massive and then some. Okay. Please hold it today. So, this is my big old train for Chrysalis, which is very large, very cumbersome, very annoying. So Nobody got time for that. Stepping on my screen.
You know, and a lot of things you can learn from trial and error. You know, as you're crafting and building it, you kind of realize if you wear it around your house, okay, I might have a hard time going through doors. Maybe I should reconsider. Maybe having friends be awesome and be handlers.
Yes.
You might need to either help you direct traffic if you need a break, if you need water, if something goes wrong, they can help you fix it. Friendship is magic. That's kind of a big deal.
Also, since this is a pony costume, you can kind of control the design of it. You have a bit more leeway. Make sure you can bend over.
Very important.
I learned that.
And breathe.
I learned that with every costume. If you have a long train, maybe you're cosplaying Queen Elsa or something as pony. And you know the train obviously cannot come off. You can build in a loop on the bottom of the train, so you can put it on your finger and carry it around easily that way when you're at a convention. Making your wings slide in and out easily is another thing. So if you have really big fairy wings or chrysalis wings or pony wings, and they're like slapping people and you've just had it, your lovely friend can just slide them out and you can just carry them in front of you like easy.
Also, the thing about handlers, sometimes a design for a costume, if you want to make it as accurate as possible, yes, you will need handlers, you will need people to take care of you. It's just the nature of some of the particular cosplays. I'll vouch for, I had 4 handlers at KatsuCon down in Virginia during a Friday evening because my costume was just ridiculously large and I needed to have people to get me water. I needed people to do crowd control kind of thing for photos because it was just too much. And I suffer from anxiety, and when people start getting too close and closing me in, I get very, very jittery and very uncomfortable. And the costume itself, I had to have 3 people help carry the costume because it was too big. And it was
It looked awesome though.
Yes, the costume in reference.
Some costumes are just going to be nightmares of uncomfortableness, and you're going to hate it, and then when it's all over, you're just going to be like, I should do that again.
Yeah, I am. I'm doing it to myself again. Because the costume in question was La Muerte from the Book of Life. Yeah. Well, thank you.
It's a pretty awesome costume.
Yes. Oh, he's got drawings for us.
This, first of all, was my take.
On imagination.
Yes! Oh my gosh, she's so excited. It's fantastic.
It's so cute.
It's a completely out of character.
I don't care.
That's fun.
Just like the question mark.
Then this was my design for rarities and mail.
Very dapper.
Very dapper. Ooh, the top hat is wonderful.
The top.
It's true.
So if you wanna show the audience here.
So basically.
Okay, this is on. So my theory for rarity was to just go dapper, over the top, and since it's a guy, make him look sort of nice. I'm thinking like Apple products, not Apple family. But anybody who owns a MacBook, you know what I'm talking about. So a lot of white. The slacks could be black or white, it doesn't really matter. Nice black shoes, they could be like slip-ons, tie-ons, it doesn't really matter. As long as they're black, they should be okay, they're relatively unnoticeable. Undershirt, again, unnoticeable, white. Stark violet necktie, something to counteract the white and to really add a sharpness to it. As well as a cutie mark blue pocket square, which happens to make 2 diamonds, which would be the majority of her cutie mark. As for the top hat, white, violet band, blue mark. And that's my idea for it.
There you go. Thank you. Now, there is a cosplayer sitting in the audience that I would love to ask where she got the inspiration for her costume. So the you right there, little Miss Fabulous Cherries all over the place. If you don't mind, would you like to share with the audience your gorgeous design for your character? Because it is quite stunning, including the wig work that she did. Check out that corset. Cherry Jubilee, yes. I'm tired.
I'll stand in front.
Yeah, go for it. Tell us about how you thought of your costume.
Well,
Cherry Jubilee is, in my mind, a Southern belle. So I took the inspiration of burlesque style, kind of, and I decided that I wanted to get a high-low so the legs could show and the back would be long and have like a layered skirt on top of it so it would incorporate her colors and her hair. And the corset, because I wanted it to be sexy, because she is a Southern belle, so she would be sexy. The gloves, again, another design that I thought would go well with the Southern belle. The cutie mark is on the side over here, just because I didn't want it on both sides. Last year, during BronyCon, I wore this costume, but I had a booth. So I didn't really walk around a lot, and I had heels. And the heels killed me from not even walking, so this year I made flats, which were suede, and now they look glass. So I kind of like the way these are better. And the wig, I just recently got into wig making, actually. I went to ColossalCon, and I made a chibi wig.
Sorry,
I think you saw me. I had Wicked Lady, if anybody knows Sailor Moon.
I totally saw you. Oh God, sorry.
That wig was a pain in the butt. This wig was my first wig that I actually like designed, and inside of here is 3 giant hair rollers, just chilling in my wig. Just because I was trying to get the beehive. And it wasn't coming out right, so I had to put the pieces in there. And a lot of hairspray and gel in the front to keep it in place. But other than that, that was it with that. I don't know.
To put it simply, there is no limit to the imagination, and therefore there is no limit to what you can and cannot do with My Little Pony. I'm looking around this room and I'm seeing so many fantastic ways of interpreting certain characters in this series that it's pretty darn awesome in my book. And that's why I think this fandom is so great, because we get to do basically whatever we want to show our love for those characters. It's fabulous. I feed off of your love, so please continue it. I mean, I'm hungry. Oh, no. I feed off your love. I said nothing. Any more questions for us, guys? Yes, right there. Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so I saw you at ConcertCon in your
La Muerte?
Yes, and I saw that on Facebook you talked about having a large experience of research, and you went through the history of it and like what the Day of the Dead was. Can you explain the process of that and how you incorporated in the already drawn and characterized character and how you made it your own?
Sure. With La Muerte, in the Mexican culture, she's actually based off of something called the La Corchina, which is a statue that they use to basically represent the loved ones on the Day of the Dead and throughout the course of the year. These statues are beautifully colored and vibrant things that are to represent the people that the family have lost in the years gone by, basically. And what I did is I studied a lot of Mexican art, a lot of like the traditional style to kind of understand the patterning that she had on her dress. Everything on her dress, everything in the hat, all of it has a specific meaning to the culture. And in order to make sure that I was showing my appreciation for a culture, like obviously I am not Mexican. I am like the furthest thing from Mexican, but I have a great respect for their culture. And to understand that La Muerte's character doesn't really exist in their actual history and style and everything. She's based off of these statues that everybody knows and everybody understands, and they represent something so personal to them. I wanted to make sure that I went through the history of Mexican art. I found out like there were cartoons that were published using her character style, and that's where they pulled the original designs from. Guillermo del Toro, who helped produce the film, even discussed like the different styles that they pulled from, and I read every interview, I watched every behind-the-scenes clip. I bought the art book as an early birthday gift to myself so I could get a nice up-close look at her costume and understand. Even my makeup. The traditional Day of the Dead makeup for when they actually do it, the beautiful, elaborate makeup that they have, can take up to 5 hours to do. Mine took about 4. But the reason is because my makeup artist and and I sat down, and whenever she applied a certain piece, we would go over the cultural reference as to why the makeup was done like that. There isn't symmetry in the makeup. If you actually look very carefully, I don't have perfect symmetrical makeup. It's because that's just not how it's done. There is no actual real symmetry to their makeup. It always has like a little bit off to that. And that's a cultural thing. The way she did my lips were to make it look like my lips had been sewn shut almost, because it represents something from somebody's life, and that's how it would be translated. And I'm totally drawing a blank on it right now, and I feel like a horrible person, but it has some kind of cultural significance. The gem on my forehead with the lights coming off of it, everything. I wanted to make sure that I understood every inch of that makeup, every inch of that costume before I put it on. I read books, I read the internet, I watched that movie several times in theaters. Now that's just really sad. But I would go with a notebook, and I would sit there and I would write down notes about her character that I was noticing. First time I saw the film, I didn't realize, oh, her candles hover over her dress. I didn't realize that until like my 4th or 5th viewing of the film, and I'm sitting there going, well, there goes the idea I had flip table. But thanks to the engineering mastery of my boyfriend, we figured out a way to make the candles float on my dress. And it's all a matter of ingenuity and having a little bit of thinking, like the proverbial box. You gotta step outside the box and look at the bigger picture. And really, honestly, with all that craziness, like, I could barely walk in the dress unless I was on a tile floor, but I wanted to make sure that it was culturally and film accurate. And doing so much research that I did, I think like 3 or 4 weeks of research went into doing the costume itself, but I gained a whole new level of respect for the holiday, which is more important to me than some silly costume. I now understand a beautiful cultural experience that people get to celebrate, and I feel like I'm a better person because of that. I understand it. And was there negative feedback? Absolutely. I was called a racist, I was called these other things, I was called horrible things because of the costume, but I had to explain to them, like, look, at the end of the day, I'm not being racist. I did my research. I understand your culture. I have a very good friend of mine who actually celebrates the Day of the Dead, and it's one of her favorite holidays. And we sat down and we talked, and she made sure that I understood everything because I had a ton of questions. And basically when I was like, I understand that you think that this is an issue, but at the end of the day, I did justice to a culture that I have a great respect for, and it's as simple as that. And if you still think this way, please, the door is over there. You don't have to look at my work, and I have a good day. That's all it is. That's really what it is. And knowledge is power. At the end of the day, knowledge is seriously power on all fronts. So, any other questions? Hey.
How will we actually have a lineup for anyone who has questions right over here?
Lineup, that's cool.
That's
Smart girl, Penny, smart girl.
Because I'm tired.
Good girl.
See, you are truly Twilight right now. You're coming up with the most efficient plan. Well done.
Efficient plan. Efficient plan's efficient.
And I figured we're close to our end, so let us do a quick Q&A.
All right. Now, there has been one thing that I find difficult for like making cosplays like every time, getting the hair right. Now, I like my hair, and I have tried so many, like God knows how many times I've tried to like put this into a wig, and I have failed almost every time. So, do you have any idea on like how to like style your own kind of hair instead of like putting it into a wig of some kind?
Like that fur was epic.
Yeah.
The thing with using your real hair versus a wig is I actually find real hair to be a lot more difficult to style.
Yeah, that's what I kind of thought.
And with wigs, especially with the kind of volume you have going with your hair, not to, I apologize if this seems forward of me, but what happens when your hair gets wet?
It just sags down.
It just sags down?
Yeah.
And that would be the opportune time. You wet your hair, put the wig cap on, it will keep your hair flat. What I usually do is I'll get up in the morning at a convention, I'll shower, so my hair is nice and slicked back, and then that's how all my hair fits up underneath the wig.
That's what I thought. Okay.
So, and not to mention on a hot summer day, it will keep you nice and cool for a while. Very, very efficient way of doing this. But honestly, that might be, I think that's really one of the best ways possible. So.
All right, thanks.
You're welcome.
Hi, it's me again.
Hello.
One thing that I had a really hard time with the cosplay that I'm going to wear tomorrow is trying to keep a heavy skirt piece up. And we use so much Velcro to keep it up, but that's not one of the best systems. Do you have a better way?
I actually recommend snaps. Snaps tend to have a little bit more strength to them than Velcro, especially if it's like a sticky back Velcro or something like that that you didn't actually sew. Sticky back Velcro, especially in heat, tends to melt off and fall apart. So anything with snaps would probably be
Hook and eyes.
Hook and eyes, but if you have nothing like that to fix right now, good old-fashioned safety pins. If you don't have snaps or hook and eyes to do it, good old-fashioned safety pins will never fail.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
When I was designing this costume, I ran into a problem, and that was I wanted to have wings, but I didn't know how I could stick them to me without with like having them stick to my body and still go through the cloth. Do you have any tips?
Did you make the coat yourself?
Yes.
Oh, well, good job. What do you think?
If you don't want to put a hole in the coat, correct? In the back?
I could put a little, I guess.
You could probably make a little slit in the back, and I assume your wings are going to be on some kind of wire or for support. Kind of snap them in and then kind of have like a Velcro closure to put them in. And then probably under your clothes or where you won't be seen, adding like an extra band of elastic or something to hold them onto your back. That's how mine are in right now because my dress is open in the back. It'll help stabilize them so they don't like fall backwards.
Yeah. And the method I use when I do it is I put take the wire that the wings are built off of, and I make an extra long like loop in the back, and then I just slide them down the back of the outfit that I'm wearing. That's how my chrysalis wings are attached right now. They're slid into my corset, so and that way they don't really move around all that much. Kind of a pain in the butt, but it works.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, so I have two. One is very short and the other one is kind of longer, but number one, how did you make the crown and the neck piece for your costume?
Sure. They're made from this material called Worbla. It's a thermoplastic that you heat with a heat gun, and then you can shape it and cut it out to whatever you want, and it'll stay that way. But to get the smooth finish on it, you just paint it with wood glue, several layers, because it has kind of a rough texture to start with. It kind of looks like cookies.
Delicious cookies.
It kind of looks, but it's like kind of rough sandpapery texture. So if you want like a smooth gold crown, just do some primer or some wood glue. And just paint it up.
Also, second, a little bit longer question is, would you recommend doing I want to say like anthropomorphized cosplay, or just like a human, like full human version of pony?
It really comes down to your preference. When I do my My Little Pony costumes, I'll usually, if they have wings, I'll stick with the wings, but I never really do horns or ears because I'm really bad at putting horns and ears on. She has the horns and ears, and I'm sitting here going, I mean, that's all depending on your aesthetic. I prefer to go completely human on mine. And Kieran?
I've done a little bit of both. As you can see now, I'm more of a humanized, vinyl scratch, no horn or anything. But I know one way for my Princess Cadis, I actually did, my horn was attached to my crown. I had a little piece of foam underneath that you don't really see between the wig that keeps it, and it actually coincidentally sits about right where her horn would have hit. So there's a lot of ways to still work around.
Welcome.
Probably easier about that. Do you ever, sorry, it's weird hearing myself in the echo. When designing a costume, it's just more like the complex ones, like the El Norte one you talk about, where you had to have helpers and stuff. Do you ever sometimes wish you'd been to a convention center or conventions like that beforehand and kind of took in the layout and design of it? Because I've never been here before, my first year here, and the costume I was going to plan before I realized it was going to cost a few $100s more than I had to make. I realized that all the stairs and all the escalators would not have been well with it, so now I got to go back and redesign it to make it more friendly with that. Do you ever have issues like that?
There's definitely been some moments. Luckily for me, I understood the layout of the hotel for CatsuCon before I wore La Muerte, because I knew where I could stand and where I could be, where I could walk around easily beforehand. It's all about knowing the venue beforehand, and the fact that you did the research to kind of figure out, or well, not research really, you kind of scope out the lay of the land.
You made a budget. You realized, you wouldn't, the effort would go into it, and you wanted to do it true to your design.
Exactly. So yeah, scoping out the venue is always a positive, and always knowing the weather too for your convention. Like, you wouldn't wear a bathing suit version of Rainbow Dash in February. Winter wrap up. Sorry.
Hi. Hello. I was wondering, I've started getting really into cosplay, but I'm really, really, really low level sewing. What would you suggest for starting to learn to sew dresses and stuff?
I would recommend looking up some tutorials on YouTube. Definitely, they have some great sewing tutorials that you can learn different techniques, like how to put zippers in or how to make a circle skirt. And they have great step-by-step processes to show you how to really kind of get the most out of what you're trying to make. And there's tons and tons, even official companies like McCall's and stuff like that have a YouTube channel that they will be like, here's this pattern, we're going to show you how we cut out all these pieces in order to make this garment. And it would really, I've still pick up techniques on YouTube. I've watched YouTube a bunch of times to learn how to do Worbla and all these other things. So here, YouTube, definitely your best friend for that.
And there's definitely different, I'm forgetting the name of the pattern brand offhand, but usually pattern brands, if it's meant to be an easier or good starter project, they'll say on that. So realistically, if you start with something simple, get the basics down. You might not want to do a crazy elaborate ball gown as your first project.
A little school uniform or a little circle skirt would be a good way to start.
Also, I was following your progress on your chrysalis on Facebook, and it looks amazing.
Oh, thank you. I like your kigurumi. Sorry. Oh my God, it's a fine girl.
I'm planning to do a Harley Quinn costume, and one of my friends are doing the Joker. With my hair color, I really can't go with a temporary dye, so I wanted to go for a wig, but so far all of the experiences that I've had with wigs, they kind of separate and get really messy, so if I want to do her hair up in ponytails.
Arta Wigs makes fantastic pre-made ponytail wigs, or pigtail wigs, excuse me. And you can get one in white and dye it to the color that you want with her tips and everything like that.
You can also get a really short blonde wig and 2 clip-on ponytails and just clip them on.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you very
And
much.
you can just trim them down to the length that you need. It's all good.
So I was wondering, have any of you attempted anything with maybe a few or even a lot of moving parts, even something that might seem impractical?
Like mechanical parts?
Yeah,
Like lighting and
just
stuff like
for
that?
context, I'm kind of leading up to like I have like kind of an idea for like flappable wings.
Okay.
So
the most I've ever done was making wings that attached with magnets. That was the most mechanical thing I've ever done. You have them actually now.
We realize that.
But yeah, no, that was probably the biggest thing that I've ever done. But moving parts can get really tricky with costumes. But I've seen some really great, like these girls. They go by Cupcake Cosplay. They have a great tutorial on making actual like movable wings. Their tutorial's fantastic, and I'll pimp them out to you guys. Cupcake Cosplay, just FYI. But yeah, I honestly, I've never ventured into that. I'm not really an engineer type person. I'm more of a person. Okay.
We have run out of time, so can we have a big applause for our ladies? And we hope the rest of your convention experience is wonderful.
Guys, enjoy the rest of your BronyCon. Thank you for coming, everybody.